What's up, guys? Welcome back to another little update video episode, whatever you want to call it, on the Syetem. Right now, it's kind of what we're gonna call it. My wife picked it out. She really likes it a lot. I'm not a big fan of it. I plan on changing the name of it whenever we get to that point, but in this video we're going to go over what I've done with the fuel system, how I got it mounted. I'm going to finish up the last AN line for the fuel system, then it's completely done. Then I really don't know what else we're going to get into. I did pick up a 8.8 373 with an LSD out of a 97 Explorer. That is going to be, don't mind the mess, we've had a bunch of snow. It's going to be taking the place of this little 7.5 that pretty confident, even with the NA setup, this 5.3 with the big Texas Speed Stage 2 cam in it, it's probably going to pop. So I'm trying to be a little proactive with the go ahead and doing the 8.8. The 8.8 does have disc brakes. It is a limited slip. We did end up getting the drive shaft with the rear end, so that was a big bonus. We actually got this for a really good deal. Around me, where I'm at, these 8.8s, if you can find them, 373 LSD disc brakes, they're upwards of $500. Me and my wife a couple weeks ago, we went about 3 hours south down to somewhere in Tennessee. Ended up picking this up for just under $200 actually. Nothing wrong with it. Just a different market down there. You know, down there the Explorer rear ends aren't worth a whole lot, but the Silverado rear ends are. Up here it's the opposite. Where I'm at, if you can find this 8.8 out of an Explorer, you're sitting on gold. But if you have a rear end out of a Silverado, I mean, $150 maybe. So we got that. We do need to cut the brackets off of it and disassemble it and clean it, just so we can shorten it. But that's for I don't have all the stuff for that, so that's for a later date video. But let's get into this fuel system. So as you can see, I've got my feed line with the connector for the stock LS fuel rail, the stock truck fuel rail, and the return line. So this is a solid line coming from the pump, and this line is my return. But instead of what I'm going to do, how I have it ran, straight from the pump, goes in, hits the injectors, comes out the fuel rail, goes under my master, comes up to my fuel pressure regulator. This is a AEM fuel pressure regulator. It goes from, I think, 20 psi all the way up to as much as the pump will make. This was the most expensive piece. Then I just got on Amazon, got this little like $25 gauge. It does have the port for the boost reference. We're not going to use that at the moment, so we're just going to cap that off. And I have a cap on this side. So the way I have it ran, it's going to come up from the pump into the fuel rails, out of the fuel rails into the regulator here. It's going to regulate it. It's going to come out the bottom. I have a fitting there. It's not tight. It's going to come out of the bottom to go back to the tank. So it's going to regulate it on the return side of the fuel system. Come back here to the pump. You can see we went with this is an 88. We went with I believe a 93 sending unit. So everything plugs in exactly the same. These connectors plug in exactly how they would factory. Everything's supposed to work. It's ground. The only difference is, instead of my 88 pump having slip-on fittings, we have these screw-on adapters, and I already had these from these fittings here from doing the LS swap and the OBS. So perfect fit, might I add you. So that was that was perfect. But as you can see, this is our feed. This is our return. We do have one more line to make. So let's go over to the bench and I'll try to walk you through the steps on how to make it. So one of the things that they always tell you, no matter what video I've seen, it's always been the same. You want to put electrical tape on your fitting, or on your AN line where you plan on cutting it. That way when you cut it, you can cut it a couple ways. You can get a AN line cutter, which I don't have, nor did I buy one. I actually did it the other way that you can do it, and used a cutoff wheel. It leaves a little sloppier, but I have learned a little trick. That is, let's get some tape out here. If I take this tape off, the tape that I had on there originally to cut it, and I take another piece, right, and I take it over the top just a little bit, and I pull it tight. It kind of pulls the top in. Doesn't cover the hole, but it brings it in just enough. That might be a little too much. It puts a bevel on it, makes it smooth. So another thing I like to do, you want to have everything lubed up pretty well, right? Hit that with some WD-40. And inside of these AM fittings, it's grooved, and you basically just put it on there. Try to get it started and twist. I have messed up. I put the tape the wrong way. So give me just a minute and we'll be back. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. Focus, focus. There is threads on the inside of this fitting. So what we do is, how much way your fitting goes once the thread on. And you just push the line in, turn the fitting. And let's see if I can get it back in here. Let's see. See how the line is all the way up to the thing, to the fitting? That's exactly how we want it. I did forget to clean this line out, so I'll do that real quick. I'm gonna clean all the lines out before we do a first start. Get some compressed air in there, get it all clean. I don't want anything in the injectors, so, but for now that's fine. So now we're going to do, we're going to take our other end, lube it up, and it's got threads on it. So basically slide that in and you just thread the other piece in. And what it does is, not only does it push inside of the hose, the AN line, and spread it out and create a lock on the threads on the inside of this fitting, it also threads into the line itself, so it's double locked on there. And what we're going to do, I'll throw away my cardboard. I don't have, you're supposed to use soft jaws. I don't have soft jaws, and to be honest, I didn't really see the point in it, mainly because I had just bought the vise. But we're going to take 2 pieces of cardboard, take it around our fitting, line it up in the vise where we can still get a wrench to the top fitting. We're going to tighten it up. Alright, so then we're going to take, pretty sure it's a 3/4, and what I like to do is I like to hold the hose up into the fitting and just screw it in. You want to make sure that your fitting isn't actually pushing your hose out of the bottom fitting. That could be a bad deal. That's why I like to hold it. You know, you can feel it a little bit if it starts pushing out. But me holding it is my little insurance. It ain't going nowhere. And voila, you have a AM fuel line made. So now we're going to take it back over to the truck, get it installed, and might do a final install on it. I'm not sure yet. We'll see when we get over there. Well, we got that last line made. As you've seen, went together pretty easy. That was actually probably the easiest one that I had made. We got it in the truck roughly. They're still hanging. We got to get in there and tie it up. But we have all the connections complete. Back here at the pump. Don't mind the battery. We'll get to that in a minute. But everything is together tight. This is a feed return. This is just a vent. And if we go up front here, you can see we got our return, then our return to the tank. But we have these lines looped. So this is our feed. No, I'm sorry. This is the feed. This is the return. We got them looped together. So the battery, I'm going to try to prime the fuel pump on the drill battery. See if we get some fuel pressure. Check for leaks, all that stuff. I want to do this. I got to pull the engine back out, but I'm not checking. I'm just checking my connections, basically. I want to make sure that I got everything sealed, because once the engine's back out, that's my time to get in there and get everything mounted up and all this other stuff. But I want to make sure when I mount it, it's good, it's solid. We don't have any leaks in any of the hose ends on the AN line, so that's what we're going to do. It's going to be kind of sketchy, but let's get to it. Alright, so you are going to be my eyes, so let me know if you see a leak. We're going to plug this in real quick. Do we have any fuel pressure? No, we'll keep it plugged in and see what happens. It was pumping. I heard it. So I think it's only sitting at 20 psi because it's basically an open loop, I think. To be honest, I'm not real sure. But I mean, hey, great news, we don't have any leaks. Now we just got to figure out why that's only reading 20 psi. Maybe got a bad fuel pressure gauge? Maybe I have it plumbed wrong? I don't know. Give me a minute, we'll figure it out. After some testing and configuring, I think his fuel pump is just not enough. It was advertised as a 255 liter per hour pump, which in reality should be more than enough for this NALS. But to test my theory, I have another Chinesium pump over there. We're gonna pull this hat out and throw the Chinesium one in, see if what that yields us, if it's the same fuel pressure, if it's more or less. Because right now on the fuel pressure regulator, I can't get it to really do a whole lot of anything. Which, you know, I might try some line routing right quick. So let's try that before we get into this fuel hanger. So I do have two different types of fittings going into this regulator, which I'm thinking could be a cause of some of my issue. I'm not sure of it yet. One of them is this double flare, AN to 6AN to 6AN, which is actually what this calls for. The other one is, what is it, 1/4 inch MPT or 1/8 inch MPT, something, and it's flat on one end. And I'm curious to see if changing that fitting out, where they're both the same, has anything to do with it. So we're going to get in here and pull these lines off, because I don't remember which fitting is which. Hopefully we don't get fuel everywhere. So that's 6AN to 6AN. What about this one? Well, crap. I went all the way to the ground. 11/16? No. Oh, we are leaking fuel everywhere. Well, that was exhilarating. Wasn't expecting that to happen. All right, let's see if we can get this fuel line back up here without it leaking on us. All right. So, we got the fuel line zip tied up here. It can't fall to the ground anymore. Then we got the fuel cleaned up. So let's pull this fitting out and see. This is the, yes. So this is the other fitting that I was talking about. How it's flat. Get one of these. See how this has that flare on it? This does not. So I'm wondering if that fitting being on the outlet, which is actually what. So your fuel pressure comes from the return down here. So we're going to swap these two fittings. We're going to put this fitting on the inlet side. And we're going to put this flare on the outlet. Maybe that'll yield us our fuel pressure. I'm not sure how the inside of these work. I know this is your adjustment screw. So I'm not sure if turning this, if it requires for a flare, you know, to block some of the fuel off. I'm not 100% sure. This is really the first fuel pressure regulator like this I've ever had to use. So we will find out together. So we'll go back on here. Get it all tightened up. I got my knife. Let me grab some cutters. Grab his cutters, put the zip tie, not drop the fuel line again. Alright, we got it all set up now. Y'all keep an eye on this. Let me know. Got the fan going. Trying to clear out some of the gasoline fumes so we don't die. Ready? Oh, hold on a second. So, I've been turning this fitting in by hand, but this one got a little bit tighter of a grip on it. She actually started to go in. Find my other. These don't get used a whole lot. I got Allen sockets. Oh, look at that. So, let me go hit the fuel pump and we'll turn it up and see how far up she goes. Now this engine, the Holly, requires 60 psi. And we got it. Awesome. Oh, I'm so happy. I was really worried that I was going to buy a new fuel pump. But it doesn't look like it's going to require that. I'm curious to see how far up. Really, 60 is maxing it out. So, we'll go ahead and lock that down. Oh, it's too small. But, we got our fuel pressure, which means our fuel system is done.